Hey, what's up YouTube? Got a little update going here. I want you guys to stick around. Also at the end of the video I'm going to talk about what my next video is going to be. A lot of you guys out there who like the Walstad method, you're going to be real happy with the next set of videos that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be setting up a Walstad tank, so stand by for that. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. So, welcome new subscribers as well, and hello to all my existing subscribers. Thanks for hanging in there. I know my updates have been sporadic at best, but you know, with a little time, all things look good. To me, this is looking good. I know you guys haven't seen this tank in about 90 days. This is a good time to probably do an update. The algae has gone away a lot. That's obviously one of the first things that happens in a new tank along with the cycle. Get a nice algae bloom. Sometimes it's brown diatoms for the most part in the beginning, and then I had a heavy set of green algae I think the last time I talked to you. But as you can see, everything is working out really, really well. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've done to the tank and show you what I'm doing to help keep that algae down. I am not skimping on feeding. I don't have a lot of fish, which is a very Walstad-centric thing, right? A light bioload. I've obviously gotten a bunch of different corals, so I will point those out to you, some small, some large, and give you a little tour of the tank, so to speak. So I made a decision early on that because this tank was fairly large, to me anyway, fairly large, I know there's bigger, I wanted to make sure that I bought a couple of what I call sort of key pieces and spent my money in the right place. So, you know, coral's going to grow, it's going to fill in, and over the next couple of years it's going to, you know, dramatically change from the way it is now. But I wanted to make sure that I started to fill in some of the key areas and get those anchor points, if you will, with some of the corals. So what I did was I focused on buying a few large pieces at first, and then work around that with some of the smaller pieces that are going to grow in, and of course with some of the corals that I had from my nano experiment. If you haven't seen those videos, go back and watch them. That was my first cut into saltwater, trying to replicate somewhat of a Walstad method. There's not a lot of plants in saltwater, so it's kind of hard to do, but the principles apply. So starting over here with my rock wall, my plan is a few things. One, and I probably should mention, this is mainly a softie / LPS tank, probably primarily LPS since I seem to like those better, but this rock wall here that I created that's actually covering the overflow. There's a couple of things I want to do with this. One of them is some Xenia. I really like Xenia. I know they grow like a weed, or some species do. Sorry for the reflection. But I want to get the top riddled with Xenia. They're a good filter from what I understand. They do an excellent job of growing in most people's tanks. I hear a few people have problems with them, but so far mine are growing pretty well. I bought 2 frags, and what I'd like to do is I actually like to do a Xenia garden. I don't think I've really seen anybody mention that, but I'd like to get some different species of Xenia and get them across there and see how that does. So I'm working on that now. It's pretty slow though. I don't really have access to a lot of a variety of Xenia for some reason in the marine shop that I go to, but I'll see if I can order some once I figure out what I want. The one frag that I've got that's going really strong, that's the first one I got, is the blue pulsing Xenia. These have been growing really, really well. I think the frag that I got was, you know, probably about the size of that small piece right there, and it's growing really nicely there. I'm hoping that it's going to fill this entire upper area here. So I want it to grow out, and I'll maybe start fragging it when it gets a little bit bigger to help it along. I also got another piece of Xenia that sort of looks the same, unfortunately, because of the lighting, but it's a little bit of a different species, has a brown stripe in it, it's hard to see. See if I can zoom in there and see. So it's a little bit of a different, it has a different pulse rate, etc. But that's mainly, I guess, because of the water flow. Anyway, that's my idea for the top of it. Now, across the midsection and bottom, and what I've gone ahead and gotten is some, hello Tang, some zoanthids. And my idea here is that I'm going to just continue to buy small frags of zoanthids. You know, each one of those, it's 2 frags there, are probably around $12 a piece, and pepper them all over this back wall, with the idea that they're going to grow in and fill the lower portion of the back wall. I really like that idea. Sort of looking forward to continuing buying more coral and filling this in and watching it grow in as well. Last video, I think I had my my open brain in there. That's doing really well. It still continues. It had a little bit of a nick in it when I got it. It's actually healed over quite a bit from where it was before, but it's still got a little ways to go. It's a very slow grower, but it's doing really, really well. Everything in this tank is actually doing really well, which I'm very happy for. That's my torch from my previous tank. That is probably the slowest growing coral I've had. It doesn't seem to have grown much at all. But then again, I've moved it around a lot, and I understand that has a lot to do with it. So it's in its permanent home now. Let's see how that does. One of the bigger pieces I bought was this Euphyllia, I believe it's frog spawn, branching frog spawn. It's got 4 heads on it. And it really is kind of a nice piece to display. It flows really well in the water. It eats really well because it's, as you recall, I'm not skimming in this tank, so everything is floating around in here. I'm not holding back on anything. And the corals seem to be happy for it, especially the LPS. They like the dirty water. So that one's doing really well. It retracts and excretes waste pretty much on a nightly basis. So it's getting fed really well, and I also feed cyclopes in here as well, so it's getting a lot. There we go, that's better. Who wants to see a toadstool that hasn't woken up yet? Okay, so this next piece is my green leather toadstool. This was another piece that I chose to spend a little extra money on and buy a larger piece. I know that you can buy them smaller and they will grow eventually, but I was looking for, some real strategic pieces that I could get to cement what's going on in my head in terms of what I want my tank to look like. So this is one of those pieces that I sort of fell in love with, especially since it's a green one, and hopefully the green is really coming out. I know that the tank seems a little bluer on the video, but as you can see, it's really happy and healthy. It's slightly off center in my tank in terms of where the position is, about midway up, so it's got a good moderate light. And from what I understand, they like to feel the flow a little bit better. So as you can see, it's right in the path of the flow of the water. And that seems to be doing really, really well. It's liking the light. It's picking up nicely, and I think it's grown a little bit since I've gotten it as well, which is good. The next set of coral after that is more zoanthids. So what I really want to do is I want to get this top area here to start matting in zoanthids, and I'm going to start filling that in as well. And among here, I'm probably going to put some other corals. I haven't really cemented placement and types of corals yet for this right side of the tank, but I'm working on it. Along with, I guess you might have noticed, I redid some of the rock work along here. I got a new rock and I replaced the rock over here. I just didn't like the way it was connecting to the wall. I think this looks a little bit more natural. Creates a really nice arched cave look right there. So I'm going to continue to maybe add one more rock up here behind that toadstool if I can. But this area over here, especially since it's shady, but gets a decent amount of light, I've got my mushrooms growing. These are some of my more favorite mushrooms that I have in person. They are very dark purple with blue spots, which is really nice. And they're going to start growing. Those are, again, from my nano tank that I had up and running. The next piece after that is back there. I haven't really finalized on its placement. That is not going to be its placement, which is my Monty cap, again, from my nano. It has gotten quite large and continues to grow, but I have yet to finalize placement on that. I think what I'm going to do, if I step back for a little bit, you can see where it is. I think what I want to do is I want to take that and put it down here somewhat low out in the open. Maybe add another rock here to extend it forward a little bit, because they do have a tendency to grow up cupped. So I want to make sure that I can see that and that it looks well. So we'll give that a shot. I'll see where that's going to go. I'm going to place it on a smaller rock so I can manage it a little bit. Now, my latest piece is something that I wanted to try. I wasn't sure if it was going to last in my tank or not. It's been in the tank about 3 weeks, and it seems to be doing well. It's certainly not degrading, which is a fairly large gorgonian. This is a photosynthetic gorgonian, so I'm not too worried about starving it out like the colored ones. A lot of the colored ones pretty much are automatically non-photosynthetic and require constant feeding. So this one has a really good shot. It was a really, really nice piece. It's about as big as it was when I bought it. It was fairly large. I guess if I put my hand up here,
next to it, you can see it really is a large piece, and it works really well. I'm not crazy about where I placed it. I think I should have placed it back further, so I might move it. But for now, it's doing really well, and it looks like my my Banggai Cardinals have adopted it as their home. And I guess that reminds them sort of the sea urchin spines that they normally live in out in the wild. I don't know. But they seem to like it, and it seems to be doing really well. Again, the Cyclopes is really helping with it. I think it's always extended. And then I've got some new growth occurring on some of the tips, it looks like. So that's about it, really. I think overall the tank's coming together. Obviously, I need a lot more corals. I've got my eye on a few things, a couple of kryptonite trumpets, and eventually towards the end I think I'm going to do some blastos, but I don't know. I'm buying them one at a time. I'm taking my time to do it, because what I go in with one week and I think I want, I come out the next week, you know, glad I didn't get that. I got something else. So, you know, it's an ongoing mission, so we'll see how it goes. So let's go take a look at what we've got in store for the next couple of videos aside from updates. All right, so here we are. Now, what do you think I'm going to do? Okay, so I figured what I would do is I would show you guys how to go about getting a tank and building a Walstad tank out of it. And I'm going to go through everything from the type of dirt I use, where I get it, the gravel I put in, and then the plants themselves. And the plants I'm just going to scavenge from my existing tanks. I've got too many and I throw them away on a regular basis, so it won't hurt to start up another tank. And one of my daughters wants a beta tank, so I'm probably going to use that 10-gallon tank, and then I'm going to turn that 29-gallon tank back there into a larger hospital tank for the salt hospital and quarantine for the salt water. So what I've done is these were both used for salt water, and as you can see, they're both pretty gritty and grimy. And I thought actually that was a good thing, because most of us end up getting used tanks, and so starting it off by taking a quote-unquote used tank, cleaning it up, and prepping it for use is going to be paramount. And along with that is the equipment. So in this bucket here, I've got all the equipment that came with that aquarium, and it's in so questionable clean condition, just like you would probably get it from somebody you bought it from off of, I don't know, Craigslist. So we're going to go through and I'll show you how I clean that stuff up, and we'll see the before and after on that. It's sort of soaking. You know, I figure somebody's going to give a half-assed attempt at cleaning it up so they can sell it right, but it's not going to be as clean as you want it. So we'll go through that. We'll clean up the equipment, we'll put the tank together, and we'll see the end result, and we'll do an update or two after that in terms of cycling and the addition of fish, and then we'll leave it at that. So all in all, I think we've got quite a few things to talk about coming up. I'll leave you guys with a hopefully nice, pleasant view of how the saltwater reef's coming along. And coming up in between that next Walstad build-out video and this update, I'm going to do a quick update on the back end of the tank for those of you who might be interested. I upgraded my sump, and so I just wanted to give you guys a preview of that, and I'll talk about that a little bit. And I'll talk about how I, quote-unquote, implemented the Walstad method in this tank. By the way, worth mentioning, I don't think I mentioned it before, since I've set up the tank, I have not done one water change, people. Not a single water change. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to your constructive and kind compliments and feedback, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks.